There's going to be some carpenters who watch this and are going to absolutely rip me to shreds. I'll stick to doing electrics, I think. Welcome back. This is Electrician giving a go at plasterboarding. I'm not too good at plasterboarding, so we'll see how this turns out. I got to cut in some sockets and data so I can show you how to do that. And yeah, let's give it a go. Right, so I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do this. And what I'm going to do is just basically screw this one straight back. And if there's enough, get another one there, but I may have to cut it down. And then we'll do that bit last. But I don't know whether to cut out my boxes first or last. But I'm looking, I might just mark it and then we'll cut it out when it's all up. So yeah, I think I'll go with that. Right, so what I'm doing now is I'm just marking where my sockets are gonna go roughly. And I got a data's coming out here, so I just need to drill a hole for a box. And I just wanna bring all the cables through and then we can screw it back. And then when all is all back, I can cut it out properly at the right measurements. So yeah, let's get that done. As you'll find as apprentices, you'll find yourself doing a lot of different jobs from everything when you're on site, so always be paid to do anything because you won't be just doing electrics. Tips and tricks for apprentices, don't want to be a plasterboarder. 6 hours later and the cables are finally through. I struggled doing that, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I'm gonna screw this back now and then we can mark up the boxes on this one or even get that bit up and then mark up the boxes and we'll cut them out. I got given this by a friend a couple of years ago, who's a carpenter, and it's basically a plasterboard bit. So when you screw it back, it sits flush with the plasterboard, so it's easier for the plasterer. So if you are going to do some of it, go and get one of these. Right, so I've just screwed it back now, and as you can see, that's flush, and I haven't damaged the plasterboard, so that's what it does basically. Right, so I've set my laser now on this screw because I know that's centre of this wood and that's going all the way down there. I will be able to just guess it, but just for demonstration purposes, I want to show you a good way to do it. Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Should be fine. There's going to be some carpenters who watch this and are going to absolutely rip me to shreds. Right, so quick tip, if you are screwing stuff back or you're drilling by where sockets are, remember this cable is going to be going across or up and down, so never drill in those zones. Nice. Cut too short. Everything's not going to plan at the moment. I can't measure by the looks because I haven't cut it to the right length. But I'll sort this out, screw this back, and then it should be alright. I don't know what's going down on the floor down there. I think something's behind it, so I might prise it back off and see what's happening. But other than that, it's not too bad, but I'll stick to doing electrics, I think. I think that'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be fine. We'll go with it. Yeah, you must do a split again. Oh, that didn't go to plan. Yeah, so the cables have landed straight on this stud work, so I ain't gonna be able to cut out the socket with a plasterboard box, because it's just I'm gonna have to chop into this, which you don't really want to do. So I'm gonna have to move that socket over slightly, only probably 50 mil, and that should be fine then, because where I'm trying to screw this back is pushing against the cables getting squished against the plasterboard and wood. So we'll cut this again, because I've already drilled the hole and I don't really want to leave it there. And yeah, attempt 2. Right, so a few electrical apprentices. From the floor to the bottom of your socket, you always want to be at 450. That's what the regulations suggest we mount them all at. So get that noted in your brain, because you're going to need to know that all the time. Right, so the reason I've just done that is this cable was outside the zone of the socket where I was on about earlier, where it going up. So I've just re-drilled the holes, and we're going to drop this cable back down there, so at least people will know that the cable's above the socket, or like I said, across. Right, we're finally getting somewhere now. I've got the main board on. I've got to screw it all back, but that's pretty much it then. We'll mark and cut all these out. We connect up the data, connect up the sockets, and this whole bit will be finished. I'm going to leave the top bit for my mate, because this is my mate's house, so I'll let him do that, because I don't like plasterboarding, as I've just found out. So yeah, I'll crack on screwing this back, and then we'll do that. Right, so I've just set my laser at 450 from the floor, so that's the bottom ball of my sockets now. Going across, so I can just go around, mark where they gotta go. I got my height, and I can just draw around them, then we'll cut them out then. So the one I've measured here and ready to go because of this wood, I'm going to do the same over that side so they look equal. I wanted to keep 300 from the wall because that's like a standard go-to, but because we've brought this one over, I'll match it that side. I'm not going to be able to do it. So funny. So I made a little mistake really. Well, there's not much I could really help it over there, but what I have to do is cut this out, move the cable across, and then they can just fill that hole. That shouldn't be a problem there. Obviously, like I said, I wanted to bring them 300, but in this case, I want to match them, so I can't really do that. So it is what it is, and we'll move on. So what I'm putting here is a single box for a brush plate. You've probably seen them in some places where there's just like loads of brushes and then you have loads of cables coming through. Because what's going here is his router for the internet. So when this is in there, these have been run around the house to give a better connection to certain things. So that'll go there, then these will bring out nicely and plug into all the router, and then we'll put RJ45 ends on these, and then they'll just click in. Right, so what I'm doing here, I got to put 3 sockets and 1 data. I'm going to move the data above the sockets. I've just spoke to my mate and that's how he wants it. So I'm going to try and squeeze in 3 sockets between these 2 studs. So that's why I've drawn these lines to make sure I stay in between. So it's pretty much going to go, that's going to go there, like so. So we'll keep it all equal and then we'll get that one above. And it should look quite tidy then. So this circuit is actually a radial circuit, so I'll cut this and put the links in between, and that's our ender line over there. Right, so I've marked these up. I've had to move the 2 outside ones in a little bit because of this hole, because we wanted 3 there. So I'm going to cut these out, and then what I am going to do is cut the data out last. There's only a tiny gap, but I haven't really got much to play with. I'd usually like to keep about 50mm. But we've only got about 25mm there, but it should be fine. By the time these go on, you're still gonna have a little bit of a gap anyway. So yeah, we'll cut these out now and see where we are. Right, so we're using bigger boxes here. These are 47mm, but you can get away with 35s because there's USB sockets going here. Really, 25mm is a bit too small to get your cables dressed in nice with enough slack on, etc. So I always recommend to have at least 35mm. If that goes with chasing stuff in, plasterboard stuff, always get the bigger boxes. So it's worth asking the customer what they're going to be using in certain places, because if you know they're going to have USB sockets, at least you can add that into your cost. As they're all marked out now, we'll cut them all out, get the cables in, and then we can do a bit of connecting then. So that's always the fun bit, get all the messy work out the way, and then you have the nice tidy job. My friend now has decided he wants the data point below, so I think it'll look the nicest center out here. So I'll get that all measured up and marked up. And then we cut that out, get that in there, and then we are ready to connect. All the boxes are in, all level with the laser. So that's pretty much the hard work done now. So now, like I said, we're on to the fun bit and we get it all connected up, and now this bit finished. Alright, so I'm just doing these 3 sockets now. I'm gonna have to put normal ones here because there's no USB ones here at the moment. So we'll chuck these on, but at least all the cables will be strip ready anyway. A little tip for you as well. If you're doing a lot of second fixing, connecting up sockets, get a little box that they come in and you just chuck all your rubbish in there. Saves you going around after, clean up after yourself. But yeah, let's get them connected. If you're doing a lot of second fixing with twin earth for back boxes, get a tool like this. It's good because you can get it right in the back and then you can just strip it and then pull off the sheathing. So they're a great buy if you do need one. Right, so a quick tip, when you're putting your sockets back on plasterboard boxes, you don't really want the single cables going out the back of the box. So make sure you bend over the sheathing. So when you push this back, it's going to stay in there. So you can spread the cables out and then they should fall nicely, and then I'll go back and then double check your connections are all tight, which they are, and then that socket can be screwed back. Right, so these white things that come in packs that go over the screws, I personally don't like putting them in, and a lot of electricians won't like you putting them in, because if you ever got to take off the socket again, you've got to break them to get them out. So unless the customer specifies to put them on there, I recommend don't. Right, that's this episode done. So we've put up the two pieces of plasterboard. We've cut in all the sockets and connected them up. I'll loosen them off the plaster to make it easier for the next trade. I hope you've learned some little tips from this, so that's always a good thing if you can. But I will catch you in the next episode.